All right, so I want to make a video about blood flow because there's something I've been noticing and I've been thinking about a while. And because I'm in the toddler world, I have a toddler. I'm looking for these things. So I've noticed that a lot of toddlers have this bulgy forehead. My daughter does, and like a lot. Like pretty much most toddlers have this bulge on their forehead. And as a result, like they often have male pattern baldness growth patterns like this, and my daughter has similar classic receding hairline look. But what I'm curious about is like, what's the deal with this girl? Because she's got a full hairline here, right? This one doesn't. This one does. And on my website and what I've been talking about so far in these videos is that I think maybe I mentioned a little bit, maybe I haven't, but blood flow. And that's kind of like this bulge is affecting the blood flow. At least that's how my initial approach to thinking about this. That was my initial theory. And it comes from, I mean, I've been in the alternative hair loss space researching for a while, trying other people's protocols, never really thinking for myself, but a lot of the stuff that I've been working on the last 6 years has been for blood flow, and I really haven't gotten anywhere. I haven't reversed anything, trying to encourage blood flow to the bald areas of my scalp. And this is making me think that it's not all blood flow. So the reason like I thought it was blood flow and a lot of people think it's blood flow is, and I think to some degree it is blood flow, is like you have these major arteries that run along the sides of your head, and they clearly taper off as they get to the top of your head. And major arteries, and they taper off as they get to your hairline. We have a lot of blood, we have a lot of hair where these arteries are still pretty thick, and then we tend to lose hair in areas where the diameter of these arteries has tapered off significantly. And you can think just by looking at these guys that, you know, this bulge in this area is probably straining, or you could imagine this straining the blood flow in the hairline area because that it's bulged out, right? That's the skull is clearly bulging out here, and that pressing out is probably compressing the blood, as I thought it was compressing the arteries and restricting blood flow to that area. Right? It's the bulge. The bulge is causing a blood flow issue. And it kind of makes sense if you just don't think about it too much. But then you see something like this. You see here's clearly a bulge, right? That's going to be affecting these arteries, right? These arteries have to pass over this skull bulge right here, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the hairline. But with these babies, it is affecting the hairline. Well, what's the difference? Well, this baby has the bulge is different than the bulges on these. Like this bulge is not creating a lot of curvature in the lateral direction. As opposed to here, that's very round, right? The bulge is causing a lot of roundness. The bulge, not so evident here, but I can tell it's just because I've been looking at it just a long time. But there's a lot of roundness there. So baby has a lot of roundness, lateral curvature in the forehead. Here you can definitely see it. Lots of lateral curvature in the forehead. So it seems like that the bulge itself is not the significant factor as to whether someone can grow hair on their hairline, but rather the curvature to the bulge. And this baby has no lateral curvature. There's longitudinal curvature, and that's affecting the placement of the hairline. It's definitely affecting the placement of the hairline here. So longitudinal curvature, the skull's got to get sufficiently flat before the hair can start growing. But yeah, that lateral curvature isn't really affecting the shape of her hairline. So, which means we believe that it's not all blood flow, right? If it were just bulging that were affecting the arteries, then this baby would have a not so great hairline. But that's not what's going on. So I think what's going on is that I'm going to call it the contour hypothesis for lack of a better term, but I think what determines your hair growth is strongly related to the contours of your skull. So that being like how your skull distinguishes between the top of your head and the forehead and the forehead and the sides of the head. Now with this baby, you can see that even though there's a bulge here, right here, this forehead contours sharply to the sides of her head. And then even though there's a bulge here, there's a strong contour here, and the head gets really flat after this bulge. So even though she has this bulge, she has very sharp contours. Like it's easy to distinguish the top of her head from her forehead from the sides of her head. But with these babies, it's not so easy, right? Where does this baby's side of her head begin? Like right here, I don't know. Where does the top of her head begin? Where does this baby's side of its head begin? Or where does this baby's side of its head begin? Right? The contour isn't as sharp on these skulls, and definitely not as sharp in this area. Like is this the top of the head or is this the forehead? It's very sloping. So what I think is going on is there's some energetic component to all this. It's not all blood flow. Like the body distinguishes between your forehead, your top of your head, and your sides of your head. And the top of the head grows hair, the sides of the head grows hair, and the forehead doesn't. But when your skull bulges and rounds out, like with these guys, then the body can no longer distinguish between the forehead and the top of the head. Like where does this guy's hairline begin? Right? There's no contour at his hairline anymore. Where does the side of this guy's head begin, or this guy's head? That's it's kind of but it's hard to see where does his forehead end and his top of his skull begin. There's not a sharp contour there. Right? With this kid, you have sharp contours. Right? His forehead ends there when it starts curving. Right? It's got a very vertical forehead, and then it starts curving. Oh, the body knows this is where the top of his head begins, so it can start growing hair here. It sends life force or whatever there. I think it's life force, and the body knows that this area is top of the head still. Right? There's a sharp contour from the forehead to the sides of the head. It's like, okay, this is the side, this is kind of the top, so I can grow hair here. Right? These guys don't have those sharp contours. This baby, even though she has a bulge, has this sharp contour. These guys have a bulge, but that bulge is affecting their contours. These babies have that bulge, and that bulge is affecting their contours. The body can't distinguish between the forehead and the top of the head, and that means it thinks that, I suppose it thinks that this area is just all forehead. Like it just reclassifies this area, this temple area. This temple area is now forehead. The body just sees it as forehead because it doesn't meet the criteria for top of the head. Right? It can't distinguish this area. There's no contour there to figure. Like the contour is here. That's where this top of the skull is flat enough where the body knows, okay, this is top of the head. I can grow hair there. So I think that's what's going on. I think it's not all, but I think a lot of it has to do with bodily confusion about what each part of the head is based on this rounding effect. Right? This rounding, bulging effect is confusing the body. It doesn't know what is the place where it grows hair anymore. It doesn't know where the top of the head is. It doesn't know where the side of the head is. And that's my best idea so far. But yeah, you'll notice that there are a lot of toddlers like this. I see a lot of kids my daughter's age, and they have this bulging forehead, but they have decent hairlines because this bulge is flat. Their head is still contoured. Like you can tell where the border between their forehead and their hairline just based on their skull shape. I think that's the key factor. Right? Contours. Very well contoured skulls grow hair. And it kind of makes sense that, like, okay, but their arteries have a straight shot over a non-bulgy vertical forehead. So I think there is something to blood flow. But, I mean, based on my experience of trying to encourage blood flow there, like 6 years, I've been doing massages, microneedling. I did bee venom therapy. Well, actually, that encourages blood flow. It encourages a lot of blood flow with inflammation. But I just don't think it's all blood flow. I think maybe part of it is, but I think it's more this energetic thing that's going on. So really, just like the ultimate takeaway here is that we need to recontour our skulls to make it easier for the body to distinguish between the top of the heads and the forehead. And I have some videos on how to recontour your skulls, and I'm working on some other ideas. That's about it. Yeah. I don't think it's all blood flow. So yeah, all these alternative hair loss guys out there pushing like, yeah, it's all blood flow. We encourage blood flow to your hair. I don't think that's going to help unless you recontour your head. Maybe you have to recontour everything, and then you have to reteach the body to send blood there. But even so, like the blood flow it doesn't make sense to me, because like I would think that if we're all blood flow and your skull starts expanding like this, right, then the areas inside of the hairline would be the ones most affected. If you think about it, like, right, because if this is stretching this, right, over a bulge or something, then the hair in the hairline area is going to be closer to the artery than the hair inside of the hairline, right? The hair inside is further away than the hair at the hairline. So when there's a bulge or strain in the blood flow, then I would think that the hairs that are furthest away, the hairs inside the hairline, would be the ones to die off first. But that's not the case. What happens is the hairs at the hairline are the ones that go first. That's my experience anyway. It's rare that it does happen the other way, but it's rare. It's very rare. I've only seen it a few times. It's mostly that you start losing hair at the hairline, which is where the contour has been eroded. So that's a kink in a chink in the armor of this blood flow hypothesis. So the other thing is, like, I've been microneedling for years, right? In this area, where's this? Right in this area, if you microneedle, you're going to get blood spotting, right? It's going to bleed. So there's blood flowing there. So like, why isn't it getting to the hair follicle? And maybe it's the fibrosis. But I think you would see like some other effects, like in the skin health, but I just don't see it. And the other thing is like inflammation. Your scalp is all inflamed. I just don't feel the inflammation. In fact, if it were inflamed, then that's good, because that's like more blood flow to the area, right? That's the definition of inflammation. Things get inflamed and we need more resources in that area. So like it's going to be a flood of blood and resources to the area of the inflammation. You want inflammation if the area is in need of blood flow. But I just don't think, it just doesn't make sense to me anymore that the issue is blood flow based on the fact that you bleed there and you have healthy skin there, and the way that we bald is just like it's consistent with the contour. It just seems like contour is like the bigger factor, right? It's all energy. It's not blood flow, it's just energy. It's not all energy, but I think a lot of it's energy, right? This has forehead energy. This has top of the head, or I don't know what the heck it is, but it just seems like the contour is the bigger factor. And that would kind of negate the whole blood flow thing and have it be more of an energetic problem. Anyway, this video is long enough and only like 5 people watch it, so might as well stop.